Sir Alan Sugar, these days more famous for telling people you're fired, but back in 1986 I received my first home system. It was the Amstrad CPC 464. It was probably the most successful product that Alan Sugar's Amstrad ever released. This is Gamer Sci, and I'm going to go back to have a look at some of the arcade ports that the CPC successfully and in some cases unsuccessfully put on the market. First up, we have the Amstrad port of the arcade classic Rainbow Islands. Now, this is a very nice conversion, very colourful, as you'd hope for a game called Rainbow Islands. The music has the classic Over the Rainbow soundtrack, which was missing from consoles such as the NES. Scrolling's a little bit jerky, and as you can see, I'm not the greatest at this game. It also suffers from, as most games on the 8-bit systems, having jump mapped to up, which is a lot less accurate. But otherwise, I think this is a great conversion of a great game. I'd put it above the Spectrum and Commodore 64 versions at least. It's getting on for Master System. So next up is Chase HQ. A game that's top of most Amstrad fans' list of top anything, let alone top arcade conversions. Personally, I'm not so convinced. I love the Chase HQ arcade game. I think it's great. I think the Amstrad version's okay. It's fun. It's a decent technical demo. I mean, that looks very good for an 8-bit micro. However, it's not a game I play a lot. I don't find it particularly fun for whatever reason. I think this is a thing with Chase HQ conversions in general. I thought the Amiga version was disappointing. From a fun standpoint, I actually would put the Spectrum version above this just because it's faster. But no doubt, as far as looks goes, that's probably one of the best looking Amstrad games you'll find. Ghosts and Goblins, everyone knows this one, most famous for its arcade as well as the NES and its sequels on the Super NES and the Mega Drive. The Amstrad version is a bit of a strange one. Personally, I very much like it. I think it's fun to play. It's nice and colourful. The music, I think, is absolutely fantastic. It's a little bit odd though. As you can see, you only ever have the knife. You never ever find any other weapons in the game. And should you die, as everyone knows in Ghosts and Goblins, you are stripped from your armour down to your tighty whities. Doesn't happen in this. If you are hit once in this, you do die. It also suffers from push scrolling, as you can see. A lot of Amstrad games have this. Amstrad not being the best at scrolling or throwing sprites around the screen. And the other thing is, Ghosts and Goblin games are known for being hard, but this is quite possibly the hardest of all of them. Which leads us nicely into Ghouls and Ghosts, of course the sequel to Ghosts and Goblins. This isn't bad, it moves along at a fair lick. It's still got the push scrolling that you expect from the Amstrad. It's still got the up to jump, which in a game as tricky and difficult as Ghouls and Ghosts does get in the way. However, it's not a bad arcade conversion considering the hardware it's running on. It does suffer though for a lack of music. The Ghosts and Goblins, Ghouls and Ghosts games are known for their music. It sets the atmosphere, and it just all seems a little bit shallow without it. That being said, it is a fun game. It's one of the better platformy, shooty type games on the Amstrad. If you get the chance to play it, you might as well. You could be playing a lot worse. And, as you can see, you do end up in your gym jams. Rodland, one of my favourite arcade games. I absolutely adore the arcade version of this. I really do like the Amiga version, which I consider almost as good as the arcade. The Commodore 64 version as well I was a big fan of. And until recently I'd never played the Amstrad version. First impressions are it's very colourful. It looks very similar to the arcade version. It's certainly a lot prettier than the Commodore 64 version. The sound's nice. However, it's just so slow. Look, it still plays great. It's Rodland, but it's like playing Rodland in treacle, Rodland underwater. Um, it also suffers from being particularly easy. I think more so than the Commodore versions. It's still a fun game. There I am using that word fun again. I would again suggest you play it if you're playing some Amstrad. It does play well. It does look pretty, especially for an 8-bit game. If only it had a bit more speed, it could be up there with the best of the Rodland conversions. However, the way it plays with its sluggishness, it just isn't. Right, here's a one everybody knows, even our American cousins who have never heard of the Amstrad CPC. This is of course Nintendo's Donkey Kong, which did receive a release on the Amstrad 464. It is a particularly difficult game to track down in the wild, this being recorded off an emulator. But I think this one is particularly impressive and well worth showing off. Now that's about as close as you get on any of the home computers. I'd put this above the NES version, which is high praise indeed, because the NES version is fantastic. It plays just like the arcade. I do actually own the arcade, so that is one I've got particular experience in. It even has your jump button being a button rather than up. Trust me, when you're an Amstrad player, you don't know how much of a blessing that is. It's just altogether an absolutely fantastic conversion of an all-time classic game. King of Kong, it might not be the CPC, but it's up there. Right, check this one out. Over the course of putting this video together, I was searching through the different arcade conversions that appeared on the CPC 464 and the 6128. And one of the ones I'd never actually played before was the port of Afterburner. Obviously I've played Afterburner on a lot of different systems, just never the 464. This surprised me. Check this out, this has got to be the best 8-bit version of Afterburner. It beats the Master System one, which most Amstrad conversions don't, especially ones done by US Gold. Usually Amstrad conversions are done by a team of a couple of people and rushed out in time for Christmas to let a 10-year-old gamer Si buy it with expectations of playing a Sega arcade game. But that looks fantastic. Okay, the display screen is pretty small, it's boxed out. You get this quite a lot with Amstrad, but it's fast, it's smooth, it's tough, it's a little bit random, which I think Afterburner always was. Also, which I believe is a difference from the arcade, is you really need to watch how many missiles you're firing. I managed to rattle through all of mine really quickly here and then think, whoops. But I absolutely love it. This is actually a game that I've gone back to after recording it for this video. It's just so much fun. It's one of the best versions of Afterburner you'll play, and I can't believe that's an Amstrad kicking that out there. Absolutely brilliant. Play it, top marks. And that's it for part 1. But there's plenty more arcade games on the CPC 464, so I feel part 2 will be coming very soon. Until then, this is Gamer Si. Keep ahead.